I go by the name of Mike Hyunh, and I have an addiction. I'm addicted to sneakers. It all started out as a kid, and just like you, I couldn't wait to go sneaker shopping. So on the first day of school, I could show up with the freshest pair of kicks money can buy. But as I got older, it turned into not just having the flyest kicks on my feet, but I wanted more. I wanted rare sneakers, limited editions, hard to find kicks, the ones you couldn't just go to a regular sneaker store to get. So follow me on my journey. I'll be taking you all around the world to talk sneaker culture with collectors, sneaker fanatics, boutiques, celebrities, and athletes. So buckle up your seatbelts, enjoy the ride. This is the Sneaker Game.
So Steve and I were actually in the gym when we kind of came up with the idea. So we knew like Steve's always been into sneakers, and then Mike is actually Steve's cousin, and he was a big sneakerhead. So we knew we had the knowledge there, and we knew there was something that we needed a place where people can clean their shoes, kind of restore them. And we all have ties to Jersey City, so we knew this is part of the culture, part of the sneaker culture around here. So we wanted to create the business and go from there. And we started as a pickup delivery, which is great. And then we noticed more and more people picking us up. They really liked what we were doing, and that's what got us here today, open up the storefront. So Soul Fresh was just a name that Steve actually came up one day. Just walked into my room, wrote it down on a piece of paper, threw it on my desk, and then I was like, Soul Fresh, Soul Clean. I was like, all right, let's work. I actually wanted a different name. That was actually a horrible name now that I think about it. But after today, we realized like Soul Fresh really resonated well. It really gives you a sense of what we do. Soul Fresh, keeping your shoes clean. We're trying to develop the brand around it, keeping your style fresh, keeping your style shoes, everything clean at all times. And people are starting to get it, and people are starting to remember the name. So we're pretty happy with what we picked.
Growing up, I was kind of like not a crazy big sneakerhead, but I do enjoy, nice looking sneakers, Jordans, things like that. I always try to stay fresh. And back in the day, I had a lot of sneakers, put them in rotation. That way I don't beat one down too much versus the other pairs. And that way, my 10 pairs can always stay fresh looking rather than one being really beat up versus, the other 9 pairs. I had a problem where I just had sneakers that were dirty that I didn't wear anymore because they were dirty. But, if I put in some time and some effort to clean them up, I definitely can wear them again. So when we started the business, as Jeff mentioned before, we started off as pickup delivery, started, trial and error, learning different techniques, different materials, different solutions, different brushes, and just kind of, trial and error, going through, practicing on, pairs that we have at home. And then eventually, when we got the business up and running, we started cleaning customers' pairs, things like that. And a lot of times we ran into issues, but prior to launching the business, we went through all the trial and error first to make sure that we wouldn't mess up a customer's expensive sneakers. If we were to mess up, we're messing up our own sneakers. So that's pretty much how I got started, pretty much the business, really.
It's tough, man. I mean, our team, we're so thankful that our team is so good at what they do, because this is a specialized skill that you can't really find elsewhere. Like, our guys are literally scraping off the paint down to the bone and then repainting it by hand and making sure their lines are good. So it takes a little bit of time. There's a lot of attention to detail. You got to be very patient. You can't get frustrated. It's just something that's really important for our business, and a lot of people need this kind of service, and we're happy to be one of the few if not one of the only places that does restoration like this.
So person comes in, drops us their sneaker, we kind of inspect it, and kind of give their recommendations in terms of what we think, will be the best fit in terms of cleaning. So we kind of walk them through. Our packages are, we have a basic clean where it's just the midsole and the upper. Then our next tier is pretty much the whole outer shoe. So it'll include the bottom, take off all the gunk, midsole, upper, and clean the laces. And then our white glove special includes cleaning the inside, your insoles. We include the shoe tree and a repel spray at the end of it to keep it fresh for them to wear afterwards and keep them clean.
Well, I mean, in terms of restoration, well, cleanings, we got Yeezys for days. Restorations, we all get tons of Jordans. You can go 1 through 20, all the way to the top to the bottom. So it all depends. Like a lot of our guys who work in the store, they are sneakerheads. So anytime they see like a nice pair of kicks that they've never seen before, it's always like a blessing for them because this is what they love to do. So I can't even name all of them, but I mean, it's just cool to see all the different types of shoes, whether it's being shipped from California, Florida, Michigan, wherever it comes from. But yeah, we've been seeing a ton of different ones, but we always get Yeezys, we always get AJ1s, 3s, 5s, everything, so.
So first step would be, take off the laces, and we generally clean the laces first. These laces are pretty brand new, so we'll focus on that later. But first thing to do is take off the laces, insert some shoe trees, and then get to cleaning.
So I mean, we do the restoration, we do the cleaning, we retail. We have retail clothing as well. We also do shoe polish too. So we have a lot of professionals in the Jersey City area. So we do that shoe polish and shine service for them. And most of the times people want us to come to their offices, come to their facilities, or fly out to their area and then have an event at their spot. So I mean, that's been great for us. They love to do like a one-day sneaker cleaning for their employees, things like that. So that's also what we do.
There's a lot of times where we have customers come in and they tell us off the bat that, hey, I bought, Jason Mark cleaner and I try to use it and this is what happened. They bring it back to us and it's like all messed up. And it's because I'm not knocking Jason Mark for their product, but it's maybe because they didn't use the right brush, So let's say it's a suede shoe and they're using like a really stiff, hard brush on it where you're messing up the suede. And when you're dealing with suede, you gotta be delicate. Try not to wet it too much, use, a soft brush, things like that. So that's, I guess the challenge would be, kind of explaining to the customers the process and kind of managing their expectations. Because a lot of times we can only clean to the best of our ability and we will do to the best of our ability as if they're our own sneakers. And number one goal is to please the customer. There are times where customers come in, drop off a really beat pair and expect it to come back brand new again. And that's just impossible, But we do our best and do it to the best of our ability to bring it back as new as possible to the best of our ability.
It's not a particular kind of sneaker, but suede is always a problem sometimes. It's a very delicate kind of material, so we got to make sure we're very careful about it because you don't want to nap it up too much where it's kind of affects the way it looks. So I mean, in terms of like, it's more of a sneaker material. So suede is definitely the hard one.
The most skill would have to be sole swapping. That's pretty much the process of, let's say this sneaker is still pretty brand new, but let's say over time you get the heel drag, everything is kind of like worn out. So instead of, maybe the Air Force is maybe not the best example because you can just go buy brand new Air Forces, but Jordans, for example, a lot of people have OGs or their sole starts coming apart over time because the glue is just, deteriorating after 10 years or so. Or let's say, they have chunks missing in their sole. So we do a sole swap. It's pretty much the process of ripping off the old sole, finding a used pair that still has a pretty good sole that we can use, rip off that sole, and then putting it back on to the original shoe. So that's probably the most difficult process in terms of restorations. Painting, repaints, and taking off the paint, it's tedious and it's meticulous. But if you have the hands and the skills for it, it's fine. But when you're doing sole swaps, when you're gluing the sole back onto the original shoe, you essentially only have one shot to do it right, because the glue is it bonds pretty quickly. So like once you apply the glue, you kind of let it set. Once you're ready to reattach the sole, you kind of have to line everything up properly, because if you accidentally don't line it up properly, it's gonna bond really hard. And at that point, you're gonna have to rip it off and redo everything all over again. Yeah, I mean, we get all types of sneakers that come in here, from barely any stains to really, really bad stains. And a lot of times some cleans takes more than just one clean. You know, because you come in here and you buy a clean doesn't mean we clean it once. Our goal is to take out the stains that are deep setting inside the sneakers, even if it takes 2 or 3 cleans. So you know, it's probably not difficult, but it takes time, you know, because you kind of have to clean it, let it dry, see where, you know, leftover dirt stains are, and then kind of go at it again and again and again until, you know, we can only do so much. And it was like, all right, well, that's the best we can do. So that's probably the most difficult part, is that some of the deep setting stains can go in there.
We get a ton of off-whites. Off-whites are pretty big on there. A couple Dornbeckers that come through the door for the most part. But I mean, yeah, like it's pretty cool to see some of these higher end sneakers that we never see before. And yeah, but definitely I would say, have to say, a lot of the off-whites have been always cool to see. They're always super rare. I always try to get it on the app and it's always impossible. So just to be able to see that in person is always good.
Not a lot. I mean, like, a lot of it is just like repaints, you know, because like people come in and like paint job is, you know, over time, wear and tear, paint's chipping, it's scraped off, or let's say they got into like, they bumped their sneaker into something, you have a smudge. So the process of stripping everything and just repainting everything again and it looks brand new, it's satisfying to me, because it's like, oh, this is my work. And then seeing customers' reaction when you give it to them, that makes, you know, us happy too, because seeing the customer happy knows that, you know, we did our job and hopefully we got a customer for life.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. So a lot of the customers who come to us, they've gotten like the OGs back in the day or one of the earlier re-releases, and they see all these new re-releases now. They're like, no, I just want to take care of my shoes, bring them back to life, take them out of the closet sometimes that they've never worn, and it's just great to be able to do that for them. So yeah, so sometimes when a re-release comes out, people are like, oh, instead of buying the shoes, maybe these guys can fix it for us. And that's what we've been seeing.
Yeah, I had a pair of, and it was my friend's pair. He found out that I started this business, so he kind of reached out to me. It was a pair of flip Jordan 3s, and these were beat, and I mean super beat. I do have before and after pictures I can show you, but yeah, they were real dumb beat, where the back tab of it, it was yellowed, yeah, paint chipping off the midsole, repainted back to like brand new, and he was like, wow, I can actually wear these again.
Hey, I mean, more sneakers the better. So I mean, even if people are buying new sneakers and they really care for it the way that we care for our sneakers, they're gonna care about the way they look. Eventually, over time, with oxidation, it might get unyellowed. Maybe they'll step in a puddle or whatever it may be. So I mean, it's definitely all the chances of that happening are out there. And as long as they care about their sneakers the way that we do, they're definitely always gonna look for a service like this.
Yeah, I mean, Jordans, a lot of it's like restoring Jordans and things like that. You know, it's kind of hard to restore Yeezys because of the material. But a lot of it's like when it's leather and midsole repaints, those are the easiest to restore. Somebody had a pair of Balenciagas, the one that looked like socks. They came from Long Island. They drove all the way out here, and he had some yellow stains on his white midsole. He told me he tried cleaning it, nothing worked. So, you know, at that time, it was my first time kind of working on them, and I was like, yeah, just, you know, give us a shot. If we can't do it, we won't charge you for it. But I was able to like make them, he had like yellow stains on them, make the yellow stains go away, make them brand new white again, and he was super happy about it. So like, yeah, I mean, we get that all the time. People ask us like, hey, I need a repaint or blah, blah, blah. I need it by next week because I'm going on vacation. I'm like, sorry, man, we can't do that. If that was the only pair we were working on, maybe we could turn around in a week. But the reality is we're so backed up with restorations right now that like we have to have a waiting list until we can get caught up on our restoration orders, because at that point it's unfair to customers who are already dropping off their pairs, and it's unfair to the customers who are dropping off their pairs now, because we won't be able to touch it 4 or 5 weeks from now until we're all done with our first restoration order. So typical, if we had no other orders, our typical turnaround time in terms of restoration, let's say like a repaint, we say like give us probably 2 to 3 weeks. But the fact that like we're so backed up right now, it kind of ranges. But like I said, if you're just focusing on one project, we can probably turn it around in like 2 weeks.
I mean, it's all a dream right now, but we would love for this to do really well in Jersey City, potentially open up in like major cities like a New York, a Miami, a Houston, and LA, and get as big as we can get. I mean, we've gotten hits from Switzerland, Ireland, from different countries, so a lot of people are seeing the attention that we're trying to create, and a lot of people think it's pretty cool. So I mean, it can only get as big as we want it to, so I'm trying to figure that out.